Think you know the real stars of CHiPs? Think again. Beyond the heroic stunts and million-dollar smiles lay secrets hidden for decades. Today we're pulling back the curtain on the lives of Baker and Poncherello to see the heavy toll that fame took on their souls. One cast member's current situation is so tragic it's hard to believe. You need to see this reveal before it's gone. The truth is finally out. Erik Estrada as Officer Frank Poncherello. Born on March 16, 1949 in East Harlem, New York, the actor had only minor credits to his name before landing the role that would define his career. At the age of 28, Estrada's portrayal of the charismatic and flashy motorcycle officer became an instant cultural phenomenon, sparking ponchomania across the globe. As one of the first Latino leads to achieve such massive mainstream popularity, he transformed the image of the California Highway Patrol into one of glamour and excitement. For 6 seasons, his dazzling smile and tight-fitting uniform made him an international sex symbol and a merchandising powerhouse, cementing his place in 1970s pop culture history. While Ponch was depicted as the carefree, rule-bending contrast to his straight-laced partner Estrada, faced a much more turbulent reality behind the scenes. Unlike the easygoing camaraderie seen on screen, the set was often rife with tension due to a strained relationship with co-star Larry Wilcox and a high-profile contract dispute in 1981 regarding syndication profits that led to Estrada briefly walking off the show. He also faced genuine physical danger, suffering a severe motorcycle accident during filming in 1979 that resulted in broken wrists and fractured ribs. Following the cancellation of CHiPs, Estrada found himself trapped by the very role that made him famous. Severe typecasting made it difficult for him to secure serious dramatic work, relegating him to B-movies and guest spots for several years. Erik Estrada eventually revitalized his career by embracing his heritage, finding renewed superstardom in the 1990s as the lead in the massive Spanish-language telenovela hit Dos Mujeres Un Camino. Over the following decades, he leaned into his campy image, appearing in reality TV shows like The Surreal Life and voicing characters in Celeb 2021. In a case of life imitating art, he eventually underwent actual law enforcement training, serving as a sworn reserve police officer in Indiana, Idaho, and Virginia, with a focus on protecting children from online predators. At the age of 76, he is still active in his community service and public appearances, maintaining a legacy that successfully bridged the gap between fictional heroism and real-world duty. Larry Wilcox as Officer John Baker. Born on August 8, 1947 in San Diego, California, the Marine veteran brought a sense of disciplined authenticity to the small screen. At the age of 30, Wilcox stepped into the role of the straight-laced and level-headed Officer John Baker, serving as the perfect stabilizing force to his partner's erratic energy. The show became a defining element of late 70s pop culture, turning the motorcycle-riding duo into international superstars and cementing Wilcox as a household name, who represented the ideal, wholesome American lawman. Behind the scenes, the camaraderie depicted on screen was virtually non-existent, replaced by a rivalry that became legendary in television history. Unlike the patient character he played, Wilcox was a focused and ambitious professional who struggled deeply with the on-set behavior and rising ego of his co-star, Erik Estrada. The toxicity became so overwhelming that Wilcox famously quit the hit series before its final season, walking away from a lucrative role to preserve his peace of mind. In the years that followed, he faced the difficult hurdle of being typecast, struggling to find significant acting work outside the shadow of the California Highway Patrol, and later endured a highly publicized legal battle involving securities fraud charges in 2010 that threatened his reputation. Larry Wilcox eventually pivoted from acting to become a successful producer and businessman, forming a production company and working in the digital technology sector. He eventually buried the hatchet with Estrada, reuniting for the TV movie CHiPs '99, and appearing together at various fan conventions to celebrate their shared legacy. At the age of 78, he is still alive and resides in California, occasionally engaging with fans through social media and nostalgia events while enjoying his retirement with his family. Robert Pine as Sergeant Joseph Getreer. Born on July 10, 1941 in New York City, the actor brought a commanding and disciplined presence to the screen. At the age of 36, Pine took on the role of the tough but fair watch commander, serving as the grounding force amidst the high-speed antics of officers Poncherello and Baker. As the only cast member to appear in every single episode of the series, his portrayal became the definitive archetype of the weary law enforcement supervisor, providing a necessary dramatic counterweight to the show's lighter moments and cementing his place in pop culture history. While Sergeant Getreer was often stern, unyielding, and perpetually exasperated by his subordinates, Robert Pine is known in real life as a gracious and genial man, quite unlike the intimidating boss he played for 6 seasons. This role, however, came with the professional hazard of typecasting. For years following the show, Hollywood viewed him primarily as the quintessential suit, often limiting him to roles as judges, military officers, or stern fathers rather than leading men. While his co-stars navigated the highs and lows of teen idol fame, Pine faced the unglamorous grind of a character actor, having to constantly prove his versatility to break free from the shadow of the California Highway Patrol uniform. Robert Pine successfully transcended his 70s TV fame to maintain a prolific career that has spanned over 5 decades, appearing in projects ranging from The Office to Frozen, and notably playing the father to his real-life son, Hollywood star Chris Pine. He has enjoyed a stable personal life, remaining married to his wife Gwynne Gilford since 1969. At the age of 84, he remains a respected elder statesman of the industry, occasionally lending his talent to select film and television roles while enjoying a quiet life in Los Angeles, having built an enduring legacy that extends far beyond the highway. Paul Linke as Officer Arthur Grossman. Born on May 6, 1948 in New York City, the actor brought a unique energy to the California Highway Patrol when he joined the cast of CHiPs. At the age of 29, Linke's portrayal of Officer Arthur Grossman introduced a lovable, scholarly, and slightly bumbling counterpoint to the show's suave leading men. While the main stars handled the high-speed chases and romance, Grossman provided the series with its comedic heart and relatability, becoming a cult favorite for his gentle giant persona and his character's transition from a rookie in a patrol car to a motorcycle officer, which added a layer of depth to the procedural drama. While Officer Grossman was known for his lighthearted humor and trivia knowledge, Paul Linke's reality was marked by a profound seriousness and emotional depth that contrasted sharply with the sitcom-style antics of his character. His career path was not without its hurdles. Following the cancellation of CHiPs in 1983, he faced the difficulty of breaking away from the typecasting associated with being a comedic sidekick in a specific era of television. Furthermore, his personal life endured a devastating tragedy shortly after the show's peak, when his first wife, Francesca, passed away from cancer. This heartbreaking experience forced him to navigate intense grief while trying to maintain his career, eventually leading him to write and perform the acclaimed one-man show Time Flies When You're Alive, a raw and dramatic pivot from his work on the highway. Paul Linke continued to build a respected career as a character actor in both film and television, with notable appearances in movies like Parenthood and K-Pax, proving his range extended far beyond the role of a highway patrolman. He eventually found love again, marrying actress Christine Healy, and settled into a life focused on family and the theater. At the age of 77, he is retired from the frenetic pace of Hollywood, but remains a respected figure in the acting community, remembered fondly by generations of fans who grew up watching him patrol the freeways of Los Angeles. Michelle Pfeiffer as Jobina. Born on April 29, 1958, in Santa Ana, California, the future screen legend began her professional journey with small television appearances before becoming a household name. At the age of 21, Pfeiffer took on the role of Jobina in the CHiPs episode titled The Watch Commander. While the part was a brief guest spot typical of aspiring actors in the late 70s, her portrayal of the character highlighted the luminous screen presence and natural charisma that would soon catapult her to A-list stardom. This early appearance served as a vital launchpad, marking one of her first credited roles in an industry she would eventually dominate. Despite her stunning appearance and rising status as a sex symbol, Michelle Pfeiffer's reality was far removed from the confident, carefree image she often projected on screen. Throughout her career, she battled intense imposter syndrome, frequently fearing she would be exposed as untalented, and described herself as socially awkward and private. Her entry into Hollywood was also marked by a bizarre and dangerous personal struggle. As a young actress, she fell under the influence of a breatharian cult that manipulated her psychologically and drained her finances, a situation she only escaped with the help of her first husband, Peter Horton. Professionally, she faced the immense difficulty of breaking out of the pretty face typecasting, particularly after the critical failure of Grease 2 nearly ended her career, forcing her to fight tirelessly for serious roles like the one in Scarface to prove her depth as an artist. Michelle Pfeiffer persevered to cultivate a celebrated body of work, earning multiple Academy Award nominations, and finding long-term stability in her private life, having been married to producer David E. Kelley since 1993. She successfully navigated the transition from ingenue to powerhouse veteran, taking a hiatus to raise her children, before returning to the screen with renewed vigor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and acclaimed television series like The First Lady. At the age of 67, she remains a highly active and respected figure in Hollywood, continuing to embrace complex characters and maintaining her status as an enduring icon of elegance and talent. Lou Wagner as Harlan Arliss. Born on August 19, 1940 in San Jose, California, the actor was already a familiar face to sci-fi fans for his iconic work as Lucius in Planet of the Apes before stepping into the police garage. At the age of 38, Wagner joined the cast of CHiPs during its second season, portraying Harlan Arliss, the station's opinionated and diminutive automotive mechanic. His character provided essential comic relief amidst the high-speed highway drama, becoming a fan favorite for his know-it-all attitude and his constant protective tinkering with Ponch and John's motorcycles. For 5 seasons, his presence grounded the precinct scenes, making Harlan an indispensable and beloved member of the CHP family. While Harlan Arliss was scripted as a boastful chatterbox who frequently inserted himself into police business where he didn't belong, Lou Wagner was a disciplined and grounded professional, quite different from the meddlesome mechanic he portrayed. Wagner faced the specific professional struggle of being a character actor with a distinct physical stature. Standing at 5 feet 2 inches, he often had to fight against typecasting that threatened to limit his range after the show's conclusion. Additionally, the conclusion of CHiPs in 1983 forced the cast to navigate a rapidly changing television landscape, leaving Wagner to transition into a long string of guest-starring roles and commercial work after years of steady job security. Lou Wagner remained remarkably resilient in Hollywood, carving out a prolific career that extended far beyond the CHP garage. He found continued success in modern sitcoms, most notably for his recurring role as Mr. Lundy in Raising Hope and appearances in The Millers. He has also remained a legendary figure in the Planet of the Apes community, being one of the few actors to appear in both the original 1968 film and its sequels. At the age of 85, he is alive and continues to be regarded as a respected veteran of the industry, occasionally appearing at nostalgia conventions to celebrate the enduring legacy of his 6 decades in television and film. Caitlyn Jenner as Officer Steve McLeish. Born on October 28, 1949 in Mount Kisco, New York, the Olympic gold medalist transitioned from track and field glory to acting, joining the cast of the popular police drama CHiPs during its 5th season. At the age of 31, Jenner took on the role of Officer Steve McLeish, brought in as a temporary replacement for the show's co-lead during a contract dispute. While the stint was brief, Jenner's casting capitalized on immense athletic fame, bringing the world's greatest athlete to primetime television as a competent motorcycle-riding lawman who served as a notable pop culture crossover of the early 1980s. Despite the character's projection of masculine authority and confident swagger, Jenner was internally battling a severe and private struggle with gender dysphoria, later revealing that she felt like a woman trapped in a male superstar's body during this era. Professional hurdles also marred this period. The transition from sports to acting proved difficult, with critics often panning her performances. The role of McLeish itself represented a professional struggle, as Jenner was effectively a placeholder. Once the show's original star, Larry Wilcox, resolved his contract issues, the character of McLeish was unceremoniously dropped after just a handful of episodes, leaving Jenner to navigate a stalled acting career and the stigma of being a stunt casting choice. Caitlyn Jenner eventually found massive resurgence not in scripted drama, but in reality television, starring in Keeping Up with the Kardashians for over a decade before publicly transitioning in 2015 and starring in the docuseries I Am Kate. Her life shifted toward transgender rights advocacy and political endeavors, including a run for governor of California. At the age of 76, she is a polarizing but prominent media figure, continuing to appear as a commentator on news networks and remaining active in the public eye, far removed from the highways of the fictitious California Highway Patrol. Michael Dorn as Officer Jebediah Turner. Born on December 9, 1952 in Luling, Texas, and raised in Pasadena, California, Dorn studied radio and television production before stepping in front of the camera. At the age of 26, he joined the cast of the hit series CHiPs, stepping into the boots of Officer Jebediah Turner. His portrayal provided a steady, reliable presence within the California Highway Patrol Squad, offering a grounded performance that complemented the high-octane antics of the show's leads. As one of the few recurring African-American law enforcement characters on primetime television during the late 70s and early 80s, Turner represented a vital image of competence and authority that resonated with audiences during the show's popular run. While Officer Turner was a by-the-book lawman dedicated to the regulations of the road, Michael Dorn possesses a gentle, thoughtful demeanor and a deep passion for aviation that contrasts with the rigid authority figures he often portrays. His time on the show was not without its professional hurdles. As a supporting character, he often had to fight for screen time and character development amidst the intense focus on the primary stars. Following the cancellation of CHiPs in 1983, Dorn faced the classic struggle of a working actor trying to break out of a specific mold and find stable employment, enduring a period of uncertainty before landing the role that would eventually redefine his career in the science fiction genre. Michael Dorn successfully transcended his highway patrol beginnings to become a sci-fi legend, most notably as the Klingon Worf in the Star Trek franchise, a role he has played across multiple series and decades, including the recent acclaim of Star Trek Picard. Beyond acting, he is an accomplished pilot who has owned and flown military-grade jets, turning his personal passion for flight into a significant part of his lifestyle. At the age of 73, he remains active in the entertainment industry, continuing to lend his distinct baritone voice to animation and video games while making appearances at conventions where he celebrates a diverse career that has spanned nearly half a century. Ed Harris as Lonnie. Born on November 28, 1950, the Englewood, New Jersey native began his storied career with small guest spots on television before ascending to the heights of Hollywood. At the age of 27, Harris portrayed Lonnie, a criminal involved in a plant smuggling ring in the CHiPs episode titled The Green Thumb Burglars. While the part was a fleeting guest appearance rather than a starring vehicle, it provided an early glimpse of the piercing intensity and raw charisma that would become his trademark, marking a crucial stepping stone in a career that would eventually command massive cultural respect and critical acclaim. The contrast between the minor thug he played and the man himself was stark. Ed Harris was a serious, classically trained theater actor deeply committed to the discipline of his craft, far removed from the disposable villains of 1970s procedural TV. His early career was defined by the grit required to navigate the industry's heavy casting. Due to his intense gaze and distinct look, he fought to avoid being permanently typecast as the antagonist. He spent years working through the uncertainty of the gig economy, taking bit parts to support his theatrical ambitions before finally breaking through the noise to prove his range as a leading man and a director. Ed Harris eventually solidified his status as a cinematic titan, earning multiple Academy Award nominations for iconic performances in Apollo 13, The Truman Show, and Pollock. He maintained a prolific career across 5 decades, finding renewed global fame in recent years with his chilling portrayal of the Man in Black on the hit series Westworld, all while sustaining a long-term marriage to actress Amy Madigan. At the age of 75, he is a revered elder statesman of the industry, continuing to bring his signature gravitas to film and stage productions, leaving his early days as a TV guest star far in the rearview mirror. Clarence Gilyard Jr. as Officer Benjamin Webster. Born on December 24, 1955 in Moses Lake, Washington, the energetic actor joined the California Highway Patrol drama for its 6th and final season. At the age of 26, Gilyard's portrayal of the enthusiastic rookie officer Benjamin Webster injected fresh energy into the series, marking his first significant role as a series regular. His character served as a bridge to a younger demographic for the aging show, showcasing a natural charisma and athleticism that would become his trademark. Although his tenure on CHiPs was relatively short, it effectively launched a career that would see him become a staple of primetime television for decades. While Officer Webster was a straight-laced lawman, the real-life Clarence Gilyard Jr. struggled with the excesses of Hollywood fame during his early career. He later admitted to battling addictions to drugs, alcohol, and sex during the 1980s, a lifestyle that stood in stark contrast to the disciplined characters he often played. Professionally, he faced the immediate hurdle of the CHiPs cancellation shortly after his arrival, placing him back into the uncertainty of auditioning. He had to fight against being a mere footnote as a replacement character on a dying show, working hard to establish an identity separate from the rookie label to secure his longevity in the industry. Clarence Gilyard Jr. successfully navigated the post-CHiPs landscape, securing iconic roles as the tech-savvy villain Theo in die-hard Conrad McMasters in Matlock and Ranger James Trevette in Walker, Texas Ranger. In his later years, he stepped away from the limelight to focus on academia and his faith converting to Catholicism and becoming a beloved film and theater professor at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, UNLV. Gilyard passed away on November 28, 2022, at the age of 66, following a long illness. His death was mourned deeply by both the acting community and his students, leaving behind a legacy that transitioned from action star to dedicated educator. Randi Oakes as Officer Bonnie Clark. Born on August 19, 1951, the Sumner, Iowa native initially pursued a career in modeling before transitioning to acting. At the age of 28, Oakes joined the cast of CHiPs in its 3rd season, stepping into the uniform of Officer Bonnie Clark. Her portrayal provided a capable and determined female presence within the male-dominated California Highway Patrol, instantly making her a fan favorite. For 3 seasons, she served as a pivotal counterpart to the show's leads, cementing her status as a pop culture icon of the late 70s and early 80s, while offering a representation of women in law enforcement that was both glamorous and assertive. Despite the authoritative and tough persona required for Officer Clark, Randi Oakes was known in reality for a much softer, more reserved demeanor, having been crowned Miss Iowa Model of the Year prior to her acting days. The contrast between the gritty environment of highway patrol work and her high-fashion background often presented a challenge in how she was perceived by the industry. Like many actresses of the era, she faced the struggle of being typecast as eye candy, fighting to be taken seriously for her dramatic abilities rather than just her appearance. The demanding schedule of a hit hour-long drama also took a toll, and the pressure to maintain a specific image contributed to her decision to step away from the limelight much earlier than her peers. Randi Oakes largely retired from professional acting in the mid-1980s to focus on her personal life, a stark departure from the typical Hollywood trajectory. She married actor Gregory Harrison in 1980, and the couple has maintained one of Hollywood's most enduring marriages, spanning over 4 decades. They raised 4 children together: Emma, Lily Kate, and Quinn, eventually moving away from Los Angeles to the quieter environment of Southern Oregon to maintain their privacy. At the age of 74, she remains happily retired and out of the public eye, continuing to reside in the Pacific Northwest, with her husband celebrating a life defined by family success rather than continued show business ambition. Brodie Greer as Officer Barry Barixa. Born on October 26, 1949 in Santa Monica, California, the former college football player joined the cast of the hit series CHiPs shortly after transitioning into acting. At the age of 27, Greer stepped into the boots of Officer Barry "Bear" Barixa, the reliable and imposing fixture of the California Highway Patrol. For 5 seasons, his character served as the dependable backbone of the unit, often providing the essential muscle and calm authority needed during the show's chaotic freeway pileups. Barixa became a fan favorite for his steady presence and unwavering loyalty to the central duo, cementing Greer's place in 1970s pop culture history as the quintessential good cop. While Officer Barixa was a public figure constantly in the thick of high-speed drama, Brodie Greer himself was a grounded and intensely private individual who eventually found the volatility of Hollywood unappealing. The contrast between his stable on-screen persona and his real-life professional uncertainty became sharp when he left the series in 1982 due to a contract dispute, a move that abruptly ended his tenure on the show. Following his departure, Greer faced the harsh reality of typecasting that often plagues television actors. Despite his physical stature and popularity, he found it difficult to secure significant roles outside the uniform, leading to a gradual withdrawal from the acting industry. Brodie Greer eventually traded the limelight for a quieter life in Carmel, California, successfully pivoting to careers in real estate and high school athletics. At the age of 76, he is living a semi-retired life well respected in his community as a volleyball and basketball coach for local schools. Though he largely avoids the public eye, he occasionally reconnects with his CHiPs co-stars for reunions, embracing the legacy of the character that defined his early adulthood, while finding fulfillment in mentorship and a life away from the cameras. Gwynne Gilford as Betty Getrer. Born on July 27, 1946 in Los Angeles, California, the daughter of actress Anne Gwynne, she joined the cast of the Highway Patrol drama during its run. At the age of 32, Gilford's portrayal of Betty Getrer, the supportive and grounding wife of Sergeant Joseph Getrer, provided a rare glimpse into the personal lives of the officers. Her performance offered a humanizing counterpoint to the high-speed action of the series, representing the stability and domestic reality behind the badge. For several seasons, her chemistry with her on-screen husband, played by her real-life spouse Robert Pine, added an authentic layer of warmth to the show that resonated with fans. While Betty Getrer was defined by her role as a patient and understanding spouse, Gwynne Gilford possessed a fierce intellect and a desire for substance that eventually outgrew the limitations of her acting career. The contrast between her capabilities and the roles offered to her became a source of professional frustration. She often found herself typecast in supportive maternal parts that rarely allowed her to showcase her full range. This struggle to find meaningful work in an industry that often sidelined women into one-dimensional archetypes eventually led her to make a difficult decision. In the late 1980s, facing the instability of Hollywood and a desire for a more fulfilling path, she chose to leave the acting profession, entirely pivoting to a career that offered the depth she sought. Gwynne Gilford completely reinvented herself outside the limelight, earning advanced degrees to become a licensed psychotherapist. At the age of 79, she is a respected mental health professional and the matriarch of a successful Hollywood family. She remains married to Robert Pine, celebrating over 5 decades of partnership, and is widely recognized as the mother of A-list actor Chris Pine. Far removed from the cameras of the 1970s, she lives a private and contented life in Los Angeles, having successfully navigated the transition from screen actress to a distinct and impactful second career. It is truly remarkable how a single show could define an entire decade of television history. Watching the cast grow and change reflects the beautiful winding road of life we all travel. We hope this look at the stars of CHiPs brought a smile to your face today. Who should we feature in our next Then and Now special? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to help our channel grow.